Hello, and welcome back to World Weavers, a D&D actual play all about collaborative world building. I am Emily Folger, aka
Fava Nespin.
here with my fellow weavers, Andy Hadfield,
Rain, and I'm not excited for today.
Andrew McClelland,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this getting to know you event in World Weavers.
and Maggie Borden.
Roxy Brassmantle here, and this is like the sleepover I never got to go to as a kid.
As you can tell tonight, we have a very special episode for you, given that we are down one Aaron Fitzgerald, aka Katha, and our fearless leader, Grant Melky. But he does have a message for us. Quote, I am currently knee-deep in a mix of cat pee and questionable water. The snorkel didn't sound very good on mic, so please, no one do anything hilarious or touch any rocks in my absence. So, to follow dear Grant's advice, and to avoid such rock-touching temptations, we are going to be switching it up tonight. We're going to be taking it back in our story and getting to know each other a little bit more. We will be utilizing the Ultimate RPG Campfire card deck by James D'Amato, author of the Ultimate RPG series, to do some character campfire chats. So, let's get into it. After the long day of travel and with the threat of getting lost looming, our group decided to make camp rather than push through the unforgiving night. Gathered around a campfire, looking into the eyes of strangers, we realized we actually knew very little about each other, and Altair had plans to change that.
Altair's gonna very nervously just sort of sidle up to Roxy in this moment, kind of like very loud, like he's gonna very loudly say, he's gonna ask Roxy a question. But very loudly for the entire group to hear, to make it seem like, oh, and we're all, everybody's a part of this conversation now. So, in terms of the rules for this, I'm going to be drawing one from the deck, and I'm going to be asking Roxy. Oh, this is a good one. I like this one. So, in terms of this card game, all the cards are divided up into different categories. There is your past, your present, your companions, your dreams, your world, and hypotheticals. Okay. So this one is taken from your dreams. So,
Oh, no.
Roxy, what is an honor you would like to receive one day? Do you think you are on the path to attaining it?
An honor? Like an award? Or like, what, I guess? I've never really...
Wherever you come from, is there a way of rewarding great feats of courage or strength, or
Getting a hug
display
from
of
your parent is pretty good.
I'm so sorry. Were you
Yeah,
not hugged as a
I-
child?
Well, not me specifically, but I did see other kids get hugs sometimes. Anyway, I guess I would say it would be pretty cool if, like, back at home, they didn't associate my name with general destruction or mayhem. That would be nice.
Yes.
Like, if, like, somebody said, wow, you really Roxy'd that one, and it didn't mean a bad thing.
Is that an actual saying?
Kind of. We have this festival every year, and part of it is like this really cool, I guess, candle display, you would say. And I thought it would be an interesting choice to mechanize it once, and that ended in a lot of fire. I was roughly shunned for the better part of a year. It's fine. Ten's hard for everybody, so it's fine.
You were shunned at 10 years old?
I mean, yeah, but only for a year. Like I said, I got to. They brought me back when I was old enough to work in the, well, really anywhere. So yeah,
You go to work at 11 years old?
just sort of depends on the family and what
Oh.
your skills are. I probably could have waited a couple more years, but I felt like I needed to be purposeful. I needed to be doing something. And I think everybody else just kind of wanted me out of their hair, so it worked.
And not setting fires.
Yeah, I still managed to set more fires, but that's. Yeah.
You've made a lovely fire here. You can make fires here anytime.
Thanks. It's
Roxy,
nice.
I'm so sorry to hear that you were shunned. As a child, that must be very traumatic.
I mean, I got to explore a lot in the wilderness. And I wasn't like shunned. I wasn't like necessarily kicked out of my whole house. Nobody really talked to me or let me do anything fun. Or, I just sort of meandered.
I'm sorry. I have a very different experience. I don't really have family per se. I mean, I sort of do. I just don't know if I don't really have a parents.
Do you
Anyway,
not
enough
have
about
a
me.
space family? Do they not have families in space?
Space families.
Rain. Yes. So, how did you learn your most valuable skill, and who taught it to you?
Oh boy. Well, it depends on what skill you classify as most valuable. I feel like they're all quite valuable.
Your sarcasm is very valuable, Rain.
That one was self-developed, Father. Yeah.
Self-taught? Oh, Rain.
Yeah, the gods gave me that wonderful one by themselves. I'm very good with words when I need to be. I just don't like to be. But that would come from my sister.
Oh, so you have a sister.
I have family. I'm not from the space where there is no family, from what I gathered previously.
Yeah. Altair just sort of just shrugs and just sort of hangs his head, realizing
like
that
really
he's
excited,
kind-
like oh juicy bit, and then like oh
he's kind of the odd man out and doesn't have the traditional family that everyone seems to.
Yeah, I have a sister. Parents. It's about it. Nothing too special. I don't know. Boring childhood. I didn't get shunned. Really?
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear. Is your sister older or younger than you?
Neither. Well, I guess
Is she
technically a little
real?
bit older. What?
She's a twin then.
I mean, I had an imaginary sister at one point, so I wouldn't. No judgment.
Was
no
that
judgment.
during the year you got shunned?
No, that was
It's
much
a
younger.
a
That
different
was much
time.
younger.
My,
Yeah,
my sister's very, very real. Yes, she's a twin, so technically a little bit older.
That's so neat. Like, do you guys look exactly alike?
Yes, no, I don't know. She wears her hair longer.
Fascinating.
She likes prettier things. I don't.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Really, this is
Rain,
making me
where-
uncomfortable. What?
Where did you learn to use your big fork sticky thing? It's go ka-cha.
The trident.
Yes, that one.
I guess it is a large fork, technically. Most of that was kind of from her too. Some of it was just, throwing it in bandstool over the last couple of years and attempting not to hit people.
You have gotten much better
Yeah.
at it.
And it comes back to me, so I don't really have to worry about losing it.
Wow. That's so cool. She's so cool.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't know why you keep saying that.
Oh dear, don't worry. Not everyone has imaginary sisters or real sisters or families that they can remember.
I pretended my mom was dead for like a year and a half.
Oh,
It was a joke on the
Wow.
whole town. It was the whole thing. It's a story for a different time.
Wow, and you didn't get shunned for that one?
No, there was almost a funeral and everything. It was actually quite hilarious because she just
That's
went
amazing.
off on a vacation for a year and a half, and I told everybody she died, and everybody just believed me. And then it just kept building from there. And then she showed up one day, and it's like, surprise, she's not dead.
Wow.
Altier is hearing everyone's very unique stories, and he is thanking the gods right now that even though he is kind of aghast at some of the things that he's hearing, he's fascinated by every single story, and everyone's story is so unique and precious. And he's just sort of, you can see him just sort of casually just looking down at a notebook and just writing things and looking back
like-
up.
Trying to
Dead
hide the phone under
mother.
the desk. Like, yep. No, I'm fine. I'm not doing anything. Yep.
Dead mother.
Not actually.
Dash. Practical joke.
Funny? Question mark?
Funny.
Yes, Father, I feel like you and Rain are very much attached at the baby Bjorn.
yes.
So
yeah.
I was wondering, what is something small one of your companions did to make your life better recently? And why did it stick out to you?
Well, there's so many. Well, I can tell you about when Rain made me the baby Bjorn. That was somewhat recent. It was because we've lived in Banstool for a very long time. Well, I've lived in Banstool for a very long time now, and Rain showed up, a little bit ago. I don't remember. There's been so much.
Couple of
But-
years.
Yeah. We were preparing to go get Randall. And I don't know if you know,
She like lifts her leg up,
I don't have very long legs.
and she can't get it up very far because she's old. So she's just got a little old lady leg up in the air. And she's,
I don't have very long legs. So we took some wood that we had found around Banstool and we fashioned it together, and that was very uncomfortable, so we threw it away. And so then we took an old backpack that I found in the Lost and Found. Did you know how many things you can find in the Lost and Found? It's very many. Anyways, and we took a backpack, and we found that I could fit, if we let the straps out so far, I could fit right there. And Rain agreed to wear it. And that was very nice. I can go so fast now.
That is how I made a baby Bjorn.
Yes.
We found a backpack that could fit Father.
It was so nice,
That's-
though.
That's
Well, that is
amazing and
Truly a
so
precious
clever.
story.
yeah.
As we were testing it out, we could do so many rock walks. Usually, I could only get like 1 or 2 laps in a day. It's so much. But we could do so many. We could do like 3. It was so many rock walks.
So many rock walks.
Father,
So
what's
many
the coolest
rocks.
thing? What's the coolest thing you've ever found in the Lost and Found?
Oh no.
That's a very hard question. Well, I once found a shield. I don't know how it got there, but it had a beautiful lion's head. It was too big for me, though. So, I put
That's
it
pretty
back.
cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know how it got there. That we don't normally get like big things in the Lost and Found. Usually people keep better track of those. But there are many scarves, and
and I just start pulling out scarves from my bag. Just one. It's like a magician's trick of just like one after the other.
there's so many. You know, you don't really need scarves on Skotor. It's so hot here. So there's many scarves.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't know who brought all the scarves, but they just keep showing up in the lost and found.
I think people it's just kind of, natural to travel with a shawl or something like that. It's good to have layers when you're going places. It's
Especially
probably
a place like this protects you from the elements and
yeah, definitely.
sand and
For all those visitors
cold.
we get at Bandstool, bringing their scarves.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Maybe.
maybe.
Do you have a scarf, Roxy?
Probably.
Starts going through her backpack and very methodical though. Everything's got like its own little pouch or like little box or something. And sure enough, oh yeah, and she pulls out a little
Alright.
scarf thing.
Father, how many scarves do you have again?
Oh no.
And it is just like a pile next to her at this point. I'm like,
Oh, let me count them. 1. Oh, it's still the same one. Hold on. 2.
Alti, you might want to just move on and come back. It's gonna.
Oh no, I was just I was going to say that is a very unique thing that we actually both share, Father. Not necessarily as versatile as your collection, but I do possess many different scarves, cravats, neckties.
Am I the only one that doesn't wear scarves?
I told you, Rain.
I
Scarves
don't-
are very
We should
important.
get you one. I know what I'm getting
They're
you for
very
your
in.
birthday. That's
Mhm.
happening.
I can say where I come from. Scarves are not that popular. Okay, I believe you. Sure. One day we will get me a scarf. Talk. What your cravats? Is that what you call them?
Yes,
What is that?
it's like a
Sounds fancy.
it's like a depending on the material, it's a fabric wrap that go around your neck, and it can be pinned with something in the center. It usually goes very well with like a vest of some kind or a waistcoat.
Is it what? What's the point? Like the practicality? Is it warm?
When it comes to fashion, Altier has opinions, and he can sense that Rain might not be one that shares his certain like level of affinity for fabrics and all sorts of costumes, and he sort of reflexively just clutches his knapsack closer to himself, and he just sort of looks at Rain. Rain, have you ever just had a piece of clothing that spoke to you in a certain way and just made you feel really good about yourself?
Yes.
Oh, what was it? Is it
My shoes.
your shoes?
Hmm.
Well, what do you like about them?
They can be a weapon if I need them to be.
Jotting that down.
shoes equals weapon.
And Raid, I don't know if I've described Raid's
JK
shoes
question
for a while, but she's got these big heels on, that like lace all the way up basically to her knees. Not like stiletto heels, but definitely big chunky heels that.
Curb stomping heels.
Yep.
Love.
Rain, in your defense, though, I feel like most things you could have or touch or even look at could be a weapon in your hands.
Maybe.
That seems accurate to me.
Do you think I could kill somebody with a cravat?
Oh, easily,
Okay.
Yeah.
easily. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
with the right
Alright.
amount of pressure and a certain position on someone's neck, absolutely you could.
Fava has also at this point wrapped one of the longer scarves like all the way up to her eyes and like tried to tuck it into her shirt.
It's like, did I do it? Do I have a cravat now?
You look so fancy, Fava. Just so elegant. And yes.
Oh, thank you, Roxy.
As everything is like slightly muffled because her mouth is covered by the scarf.
So cravats speak to Altier. Noted.
Roxy.
Yeah.
What advice or warning would you give a younger version of yourself? How do you imagine it impacting your present day life?
Well, probably, don't touch rocks that you don't know about, and maybe just be more assured of what you're doing before you do it. Does that make sense? Like, take a beat. That would, like, if I only had a couple of words to tell past me in this time travel scenario you've presented, it would be just take a beat. Like, don't just jump at the thing. Just take a moment. Maybe ponder it. Yeah.
Roxy,
And-
I worry about you.
Why?
You don't want to touch the rocks?
Well, no, it's not that I don't want to touch the rocks. It's that I have to be very mindful about how I touch rocks.
Oh.
Do they
Yeah.
set fire too?
Kind of.
And
I've
she
touched
just will
so
like
many rocks.
she'll kind of push up her sleeves a little bit that she had pulled down because it's chilly, and just sort of show like in the firelight how, you know, she's clearly got this scarring up her arms.
You like, you don't know what you're getting into. Sometimes, yeah, rocks can sort of create their own kind of fire, I guess. I've
Did a
tried
rock-
to understand.
Did a rock
how
do
this
that
happened.
to you?
Yeah. I wasn't sure what it was. I could tell it was probably magical, and I thought, well, let me try and learn about it or figure something else out about it. And I went and I touched it, and it just knocked me out and did whatever this is to my arms, and it was less than pleasant. And from that point on, I started to try and be more careful about jumping into things.
You see abject horror on Fava's face.
You
The
mean
idea
there are
that a
rocks
rock
in this
could
universe
do
that can
to
kill you?
There are rocks that will scar you in that way.
Now, I will say this. This was a very unique rock. I have only ever seen it once in my life, and it was when I encountered it during that time. So, like, your run-of-the-mill rocks, you're probably all right. But, never don't doubt that maybe it will kill you.
Fava, I'm sensing that you've never encountered a rock you didn't like.
No. I love them. Even the ones that scurry away from me. I love them.
Scurry away from you?
Yeah, I'm going to double back to that as well.
What? Oh, well, some of the rocks here on Scorcher are not actually rocks. They just look like rocks, and they can scurry away. They ball up, and they look like a rock, so when you go to pick it up, you're like, oh, such a nice rock, and then it jumps out at you, and you're like, ah, and then it runs away.
It's true. I've been trying to catch one, but
It was very similar, actually, to the thing that Katha touched that then got angry. But they're smaller. They're little. I can hold
Gotcha.
them.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Why rocks? What is it? Just proximity to them, or have you always been into rocks?
Well, I've been on Scortor for a very long time, as we've talked about, and there's not a lot on Scortor besides rocks. So,
So the proximity
Rocks.
was gotcha. Well, that's
They're
important to have
wonderful.
the hobby. I can appreciate that. That's good.
You
That's
see,
I
Wayne?
scrapbook and yeah.
Roxy supports the rock habit, as you call it.
I'm not against. Do we have to carry them all?
Yes, they will be sad if you leave them behind.
Only the ones that are alive. The rest don't have emotions. They're
Fine,
rocks.
I will be sad if I leave them behind.
But you have like 572 at this point.
Last you counted.
I stopped.
She's like
counting.
not making eye contact at this point.
Okay,
I
well,
just
Roxy can
love
start to
them.
carry some of the rocks.
I never agreed to be part of the rock collecting process. I was just interested in it, and it was brought up by
Would you
our friend
like
Altier
one?
here.
Would
Oh,
you,
I would.
would you,
I don't want to take one of your rocks. Yeah, those are yours. I mean, that's very, very sweet. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to. I don't want to impose.
You're right. I'll hold on to it for you. And if
That's
you
very
want
kind.
it, maybe we can discuss it later.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's very nice.
Out of this scenario, I'd just like to point
Oh,
out
dear.
that time travel is canon now. It's because Roxy said it was. She said in
What?
this time travel scenario.
Well, because you had posed the question like you talking to a past self or whatever, and in her mind, the only way you could do that is if you're time traveling.
Right, but the idea of time traveling is, or
I see what
the
you're
idea of
saying.
time
I see what
traveling is something that exists in
Mm.
this world, which is
There you go.
interesting. Grant.
Grant somewhere in the world being like, no! Guys, this is...
I'm gonna hear about it in the chat in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Rain, I hope that you can see that I tender this question in the most respectful way
I
possible.
feel like that's a horrible way to start a question.
It really is, but I'm just sort of realizing that at the moment as I'm speaking out loud. When was the last time... When was the last time you cried in front of someone? What made you cry?
Really, Altier?
I know. It's just something on my mind. You seem to be like very, very focused a lot of the time, and
When's the
I
last
just-
time you cried, Altier?
oh, I cry all the time. Are you?
It's true.
Oh.
He cried yesterday like twice. I couldn't
Sometimes
figure out.
things are
that
just
we-
so unbelievably sad and overwhelming.
What was so sad yesterday that you
He
cried?
got sand in his eye.
There was a. I had a bit of an episode with sand.
Yeah.
This place. It's
Oh.
not something I'm very familiar with, at least not on this world, and
Mhm.
This
just
the sand
lot.
made you sad.
it got in my eye,
Well,
and it was just irritating, and
Yeah,
I just
it
sort of
started to
felt very
well, and then that.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I would say the last time I cried was 2 years ago when I watched a couple people get murdered in front of me, my sister get taken, the gods just fuck up my life, and I got dropped in the middle of this horrible place.
Good
But
God.
yeah, I could see how sand could also make you cry.
Yep, that definitely puts things more in a little bit, I guess, perspective. Yeah, it was.
Oh, sand is a very valid reason to
I
cry,
know, but it's
though.
not nearly as bad as murder, is it?
Well, we all have our own spectrums of
You-
tears.
Yeah, you introduced me to the person who doesn't cry when they get sand in their eye, and well, I'll introduce you to clearly a psychopath, is what I always say. So you're fine out here. It's okay that you cried.
I think I've ever
Is
cried.
Roxy subtly saying that Rain is a psychopath?
Yes.
No.
I mean,
Okay,
backpedal. Wait.
Okay, oh dear. Okay. You know, I think anybody would cry if they got sand in their eyes. That's a painful experience. And if you
I mean,
didn't,
There's
that's
a
back to
difference
the- back
between
to
your
the-
eyes watering and crying. Like you
Yes,
your
yes,
eyes-
enough
yeah,
about my
but-
teary eyes and sand.
definitely
It
cried.
and
was,
sad sand. Yeah.
he
yes,
got sad. I mean,
you mentioned I'm sorry, murders and siblings being taken and the gods
Yep.
truly doing terrible things to you. What why?
Why?
What was the reason for all of that?
Why do gods do anything that they do?
They usually have a reason.
They
What
never
did
have a
you?
reason.
Is there a reason? Maybe perhaps you did something, or I'm sorry. In my
I went
personal
to a
experience, the gods
festival.
usually have a very
I had a lot
good
of
reason for doing
fun.
things.
I competed. I watched a god eat way too much shrimp, and then they brought me into a cave and just started pointing fingers and murdering people. Then I touched this thing, which just points to the trident, and it all just went downhill.
And then you met me.
And then I met Father.
And it's all been uphill, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh.
She says with the most stoic face. I did, yeah. Don't know what gods just. I'm sure they had a reason. Probably just their own enjoyment.
It's most interesting because my experience with the gods is, or more to be more accurate, a god. Back to what I was saying earlier about not having a traditional family. If I'm being honest, that this god that I was always very much was like a father to me in many, many ways. Myself and I don't know if you would call them siblings, but we were all together. Anyway, father.
Is that really where you're gonna end?
Yeah, I mean, how many of there were you?
I mean, the two that fucked with me look just like you, so.
I'm sorry?
She just nods and looks at you.
What do you mean they looked like me?
They looked like you. What do you. They had wings. They were about your height.
To be clear, we're talking about the people who murdered a bunch of...
Well, one did. The other one technically saved me, ruined my life. Not quite sure. Jury's still out.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I completely missed something. You're telling me that you've encountered someone who's looked vaguely like myself? And
yeah, the wings were different color, but like I said, same height.
what color were their wings?
Yeah, I don't remember. Just plain white, black. I don't. They looked like something, and then they just like changed into another form that was suddenly this. I watched somebody die. I was not paying attention to wing color.
We'll have to talk more about this then. This is very, alarming.
You're telling me you showed up at my doorstep.
Father, do you have an endpoint or destination in mind for your journey?
I mean,
What would you do after you reached it?
we all die eventually, I suppose. I haven't really thought about it, though. I suppose I am getting old. Maybe I should think about it.
Father, don't think about.
No,
You're not gonna die for
yeah.
a while. Ew.
Yeah, I think it's important to stay positive, and you know, mindset is part of age very much.
I think Ultium more meant like a location, not like.
Oh, not like the end of my journey, but the end of, like, the journey.
Maybe it's better if we left Bandstool. Where would you like to go?
I don't know. I would love to see a forest. I know we've talked about seeing a tree, but I would love to see lots of them. And, 'cause it's very dry here. I don't know that I've ever seen the ocean even. I've read about it, I've heard about it. So, really, I would love to see something other than dry ground. So like a forest or a meadow. A meadow. I want to see a meadow. And I will roll in the grass. That's my journey. I want to see a meadow.
Hearing this, Altair is going to start composing a sonnet about a meadow and grass and trees and rivers. Just so that Fava can have words that will hopefully match the image that she will one day experience.
I thought you were going to say that Altair's going to start to cry.
We found it. It's the sand.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
So beautiful.
I love how Roxy is just throwing Altair under the bus. It's just like, ever since I met the guy, he's just a constant, he's a weeping willow over here.
Altair, I have a question for you now. You must ask many questions,
Yes.
and we've
That's
talked
right.
about
You need to answer a lot more questions yourself.
Yes, we've talked about your home, it being in the sky. Well, if you could move into your dream home, what would it be? What would it be like? Would it be in the sky? Would it be here? Would you live with anyone?
Altair thinks for a moment. This is a very odd question, since a concept of a home for him is not one that is contained within, walls.
I would say my home would be back with the god that I serve? I don't really know. I'm not... He can't hear me right now, and it is very distressing. We'll be back in the astral sea with the others, my kin, the 5 of us. Hearing about Rain's experience with 1 or 2 of my race is
2.
intriguing, to say the least. Considering I have not encountered any more of my race besides the 5 that serve our god, or the god. But yes, I would say within the astral sea.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but it sounds very nice.
It's a space between the worlds.
Oh. It's the in-between place?
Yes. It's,
Altair doesn't want to say any more, or can't say any more about the astral sea, because there is only so much information that he is allowed to share about other worlds and other... It's like the Federation and the Prime Directive. If you're Star Trek fans. You don't want to influence the world that you're on in any way if they don't have warp technology. So if you don't have a way of getting to the astral sea, then you don't really talk about it with people. Aside from telling you that's where you're from.
We don't have our dice or anything up because we weren't planning on combat and stuff, but depending on how perceptive Altir is as a base, you would see just a hint of like a
He is
connection
not. I know
being
for that
made. Okay,
for
then never
fact.
mind. You don't see nothing. Fava's just got big eyes. That's all you see. Just staring at you.
Sketchy to me.
I'm just gonna make sure of that. What my passive perception is. My passive perception is a 10. So he don't see
Perfectly
shit.
average.
Fava's eyes are just as big as they always are. It's abnormally big.
Well, that
Ah,
sounds nice that you would live with people you seem to care about.
So is your plan then to just stay here for a while and then leave?
I don't know the answer to that question. Mainly because I arrived here under dire circumstances, and Roxy found me, and I haven't been able to get in contact with anyone where I'm from, and what's more is I don't know if I should continue to reach out to them, because that either might put myself or them in more danger. So for the time being, I am content to lapse into a mode that I am very comfortable with, because it is the mode in which I conduct all manner of my business with, for the god that I serve, which is collecting stories. I collect stories of the people and places that I encounter and the worlds that I travel to, and I share them when I return home.
Report back.
Altir's. He's trying not to say anything more than that.
Being very careful with his words.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I just love hearing about people, where they live, where they want to live. Roxy, I hope you never have to be shunned ever again. That sounds very sad.
Oh, it was definitely less than pleasant, that's for sure. I kind of made a decision recently that I'm gonna start doing stuff for myself. I've spent so much of my life trying to make everybody else happy, and I wanted to come on this trip, and I wanted to try and kind of find this guy, and everybody told me I was crazy, and I decided it was time to stop listening to everybody else. So I'm hoping this takes me somewhere, really, really cool, or somewhere totally different that I've never been before. I mean, I'm already here, which is very different from what I'm used to, but I hear there's a lot out in this big old bean.
Yes, about that. The bean, the
Yeah.
name. It's so odd because the worlds that I. Pardon.
The voice of a ghost whispers on the wind. We're a fan of families here at World
That's
Weavers.
right.
And you know what
That's
else we're a
right.
fan of?
What's that,
Fan
Emily?
roll dice. Fan roll dice, Maggie.
We are fans of fan roll dice. That
We
is,
are.
it's a great group.
I feel like we have something for fan roll dice, don't we?
I believe it's code. I believe it's a code.
You're so right. And that code is code homebrew for 10% off anything in the store. So go get yourself
There
some
it
dice.
is.
Make
Treat
your own little
yourself.
dice family.
For your adorable
Treat
children.
yourself to
Yeah.
So
23.
smooth.
Listen, I'm a master at my craft, okay?
Roxy, this next question
Yep.
for you. I feel like this is a very fun question that that I feel you might enjoy.
Why does she
although-
get the fun question and I get the one about crying?
He's known me longer.
They've already
This is true.
established how they cry in front of each other. That would be the most
Yeah,
recent thing.
that was like day one stuff. This is your day one-ish, so, here you go.
Okay.
Choose one of your companions and say how you would introduce them at a grand ball /
Oh my gosh.
gladiatorial arena.
Oh,
Those
okay,
are two
okay,
very different
Yeah,
things.
that's
Very
actually
different.
kind of like the festival back home.
okay, okay.
Do you have
Okay.
those here? Grand balls and
We
gladiatorial
do.
arenas?
I've never been to a
Yeah.
grand ball per se. That's very fancy. That's some dwarf stuff. In my area, we don't really do the grand ball thing, but I have seen quite a lot of like gladiatorial combat situations. A lot of traveling wrestling groups through my neck of the woods. I guess I would say for one of those, maybe like here she comes, here she comes standing at.
She's gonna kind of look at Fava a little bit and gauge her up and down. It's
2
sits up tall.
foot 2 foot 8 9. What are we looking
So
at here?
good
Mimi?
at that.
Okay, all
good.
right. 2'9". The boulder from the shoulders. Fava Nespin. And then fireworks, and probably like a rug or something.
and she's jumping up and down. She's trying to like paint this whole picture of what it would be like around Fava.
Yeah.
Altier is like tossing side glances across the campfire at Rain because he's watching two of the shortest people in the party suddenly have like this brilliant, fantastic moment where they're like jumping up and down and they're talking, and just one of them is like the hype man for the other.
I've given you scarves to like use as ribbons.
Doing a little dance, yeah.
And yeah, I again never been to a grand ball, but I imagine it'd be like probably do. Here's Rain, something like that maybe.
That's actually how it went, so perfect.
Oh wow, I feel so classy all of a sudden. Who knew?
You got it.
You're very good at that, Roxy. You should be like a professional, like person that stands behind people and like boosts them up. Like you're great at
Oh.
that.
I didn't even know that was a job, but that sounds
Let's
awesome.
make it a job. I
Okay.
think yes.
Sounds good.
This is just starting. You realize the whole thing, which is going to be Roxy going behind people whenever they see them.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yes, 100%. Multi-classing to Bard.
Right.
Grant,
Artificer.
this is your cue to somehow include a ball / gladiatorial arena in any future episodes.
Just not mine. We don't need to recreate that.
Murder ball.
With cake and lemons.
Ooh, Rain. I know the last question was rather doom and gloom of me. I
Personal?
apologize. If you could commit any one crime and get away with it, what would you do? Who would you want to come with you?
There's so many crimes that I'd like to commit, but I feel like I could get away with most of them, actually. Well, I mean, I don't really have to smuggle Fava off a school tour anymore because she's allowed to leave. So that's nice. Probably stab the god that did this to me. That'd be a good one to get away with. That's probably going to be the most difficult one on my
That's a
list
very
of
gray
crimes.
area too, because depending on the god, you're like one
Can
god
you
might
die?
see it as. Can I?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a little
Okay.
forward.
Well, he looked like you, so I'm just assuming that if it's similar to you, if you can die, he can die.
Yes. Again, what did they look like? I'm just curious.
Tall, fancy, humanoid.
That's
I mean, one of them started out looking like a fish and then changed into a human, with wings. It's weirdly attractive. They were all weirdly attractive, kind of like you're weirdly attractive. Like you're all just kind of way too shiny.
Altier suddenly changes like dramatically. His color in his face suddenly gets much pinker and blushing ever so slightly because this is the first time since they encountered each other that Rain has ever paid him a compliment, direct or indirect.
And then yeah, just the big wings and really the quite powerful. One was very angry and like he's the one that just pointed at my friend and turned him to dust. The other one was much nicer for the most part. She really liked music and herself. I don't know. They're just attractive, tall, winged beings. Right, so crime. Yeah, stab him, murder the majority of the people back in my town.
Oh.
Yeah, they deserve it. I don't know, stop whatever they're doing. If I could get away with all of that and just make it easy. And who I would bring, I mean, obviously Fava. I don't know how. Oh, we would have to really finagle something like a baby Bjorn in an air bubble.
I love it. We
And
can
you could see,
make
you
it
could see the
work,
bottom
I'm
of the
sure.
water.
I would be intrigued by help. I would help with that. I would help with that. That sounds. That
Okay,
sounds
Fava-
like quite
That would
the
be-
challenge.
Fava
That would
and
be killing
Roxy
two-
in bubbles.
That would be killing two kobolds with one stone.
I can
you know,
come
because
too.
that would,
Do
fit your criteria and
yeah.
also
Yeah,
Father's
sure.
for seeing the ocean.
I mean, if they were both baby Bjorns and bubbles, we might need Altier to carry you and the other baby Bjorn.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about that. Might have to be a thing. Now that I've seen y'all's setup, like I think that's gonna become something for sure.
We'll find you a very nice backpack that fits you very well.
Big trip
A plan.
to
I got
murder a
plan.
god. That's it.
Okay.
It's the next
Yeah.
plan.
Okay. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Here we go.
Did I just get roped in? I did. Okay.
Huh.
He's hypothetical.
I
Okay.
don't think. I thought Keitha was sleeping, but I might hear. Is she waking up? Did we wake her up? Oh, we may have woken her up.
It was probably that epic intro I gave for you for the.
What on earth are you guys doing up this late? For the love of both,
Okay, then.
be
Keith, if you
quiet.
had the choice to go underwater in a bubble to murder a god, would you?
Oh,
While
absolutely.
also
That sounds
potentially
like a lot
baby
of fun.
bjorning somebody.
All right.
Thanks.
Keitha,
Another
we're
one.
just-
What are we doing?
We're
Altier, what are
learning
those
about
cards?
each other.
What are we? What on earth? What did I miss? I'm too hungover
Oh,
for
we're
this.
we're just getting to know each other a little bit.
Just chatting.
Oh, all right. Rain is telling stuff about herself. Good lord, that's
Yes.
surprising.
Altia
Rain
asked
has a
me why I
twin.
cry.
Oh well, you cry? What? When?
No, that's the Altia cried yesterday, supposedly. I've cried a long time ago. This is why you need to be awake. Catch the stories.
But now you are
actually,
awake. So you
I'm so
can,
sorry, Father. I hope you don't take offense at this. If you don't mind, I would love to skip you and perhaps ask Gaither a question.
Oh, please do. I like learning about people.
Excellent.
Nothing involving math. I'm too not awake yet for math.
Was math
I-
on the table? I did not prepare.
Altier's face drops ever so slightly because he suddenly realizes that an entire category of math-related questions are suddenly off the table.
I feel like Roxy would be really good at math.
Yes.
They like word
Keitha,
problems or like the like apples in a cart kind of thing. Yeah, like that. I could get down for that. I could get down.
Depending on where you're from originally,
Yeah.
what monster would you love to keep as an unconventional pet? And
Oh,
why?
that's difficult. I'd have to say. Alright, what's a good one? There were these long, like, centipede-ish lizard things. Like, think like a snake with legs, kind of. They're very small. They're like probably a foot long.
It's not
Very
that
friendly little
small.
critters. They're herbivores, which was nice. But they were commonly not very friendly. But if I could tame one, that would be amazing. That'd be incredible.
What are they called?
Ammonites, not ammonites, as in like the little like critter with a shell and like the tentacles. Not ammonites, ammonites.
Ammonites.
Ah.
Oh. Are they common where you come from?
As common as any life can be in a sort of arid grasslands sort of place. So not much life there, but it's a pretty common creature, yeah.
Oh. I want to go back to the question about my journey, and I want to add that. I want to see an ammonite.
How many legs?
Oh, no more than like 10 on each side.
Okay, somehow I was
That's
thinking
a
a
lot
lot more. That's not bad at all.
That's a little
That sounds
creepy.
like a truly fascinating creature.
Well, I mean, for their length, it's really not that bad. It's like, plus they're urban, they're not predatory. They're like,
I guess that
they eat,
that
they,
helps.
they eat leaves. They're,
Yeah, that helps.
they're little, they're very cute, especially the little baby ones, but they don't like people that much.
Oh.
They're very skittish.
Hmm.
Back to you, Father.
Oh.
What is the best tavern you've ever been to?
Well,
That might not be the best question for you. I apologize. That's not a great question for you, seeing as how you've spent the last 80-something years in Bandstool.
Rain
We
is
want
definitely
to-
shooting daggers out you right now.
Yes,
we want
Papa, do you even
someone
know what
new
a tavern
coming.
is? Do you know what a tavern
yes.
is?
I know what a tavern is. I've read about them, but I've never been to one. We did have someone come in, though.
There was that one time.
Yeah, who I don't know if I think he was supposed to be there, if you understand my meaning, but he was a chef before Bandstool, and he made us his most delicious meal. It was one. Do you remember it, Rain? It had the little eggs. I don't even know where we got eggs on Bandstool, but it had little eggs. Oh, it was wonderful.
And we never saw him again.
No.
Are there any creatures that lay eggs in Bandstool? Like birds or like lizards?
Do you,
I only know of the
Do the
rockodillos.
crocodillos lay eggs? They would look like rocks.
I don't know.
Maybe
Am I
you have a
carrying
rockadillo.
rockodillo eggs?
Maybe they were crocodile eggs, yeah.
I shall look into this.
Yeah, you probably want to know if you're carrying around eggs and not rocks. That could be a problem.
Question
it's
for
kind of a-
Fava. Are crocodillos like mammals or are they reptiles? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm not technically supposed to keep them in Bandstool. Technically. But
I'm guessing that means you probably did once or twice.
no.
They get into the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
They
like
don't-
vermin. Good.
it-
That's terrifying.
She collects them, and then the next day they're gone, and it upsets a lot of people.
Yeah. They can chew through my little box. But they're just so sweet and so cute. They just roll up into a little ball and I love them. But I don't know. I've never been able to keep them long enough to find out whether they lay eggs or have babies.
Interesting.
Roxy,
Yeah.
would you rather... You know what? I already know the answer to this question. I'll ask it anyway.
Okay.
Would you rather win an important battle, make a great discovery, create an artistic masterpiece, innovate a piece of technology, ease a type of suffering, and why?
I think I would like to ease a type of suffering via technology.
Oh.
I know that probably sounds crazy. And that's the kind
Doesn't
of
sound
stuff
crazy at all.
that would got
There
me in
is
trouble back home. But I think that there's a lot to be said for some of the like more science arts that aren't really as well discovered in some places, and I think we could do a lot of good with them.
I mean, there is restoration magic and there is enchantment, so you could probably make some sort of like healing box. Like you stick someone in it, and like you just like set like a little
Something,
timer or
yeah.
something, and it'll.
I just,
Heal
you know,
'em up.
I know not everybody has magic, so if there were ways to find ways to build things that could help people and almost like be magical, but they're actually mechanical, I think that's just so neat.
I love that. That would be so interesting.
That actually brings up a very interesting question, because you know what? We'll save it for a rainy day. It's a question we'll save.
That's going to be a very long time.
I was gonna
We
say,
don't
if
get
we're
rain
here, it's gonna be a
I
little
know,
while.
It's a phrase. It's not necessarily in a place where we're going to see much rain, which means we'll probably have to wait a long time to answer that question. Rain.
Altair. Just another cry question. From your face, it looks like
I'm
another cry
really
question.
trying not to make it one. I do apologize. Which do you value more? Vengeance or
Vengeance.
forgiveness?
Yeah, there's more to that.
How does this value impact your day-to-day life?
I mean, it is my date. I'm very confused. Is there really multiple answers to this question?
No?
I
To be fair,
Well,
Rain's
yes,
entire
I mean-
thing is vengeance, so I mean, it's kind of a given answer.
That actually brings up, since you mentioned, how do you two know each other?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, just been traveling for a little bit, I assume.
I mean,
How did
we
you-
met Keitha when we met you all.
Yeah, I haven't known them previously.
Oh, I'm
But-
sorry. I do apologize. I must have mistook what you were saying. It sounded like you knew.
Oh no,
something
from
about
what we know of Rain so far, they're primarily focused on vengeance and, you know, righteous retribution and such. I mean, am I correct, Rain?
No, it's pretty. It summarizes it. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, if someone does you wrong, you get vengeance.
Precisely, yeah. Checks
Okay.
out for me.
I mean, maybe forgive small things, like if somebody, like, I don't know, if somebody stole one of Father's rocks, I would get vengeance.
Yeah.
How do you determine vengeance on rock thievery?
Well, I mean, I would go and tell them to give it back, and if they didn't, then bad things would happen.
Yeah.
Depending on the rock. Like, if it was a special rock, then maybe just straight to bad things.
People always
Interesting.
have the option of not being exposed to violence, but if they don't choose
I
the
don't
correct
say
option,
always.
then they
Most
experience violence.
times, Sometimes. violence is almost always the solution, but sometimes other things can come into place.
Violence is a question. The answer is yes.
Wow.
Altier and is going to
That is like
look
Jack
next
That
to.
escalated quickly.
Altier is
expect
just
that
going to
from
look at Roxy in this
Keitha.
moment. And
Okay.
he's just going to
Keitha, by the way, for the people, you guys who don't know, Keitha is literally clad in like gladiatory armor, not like battle armor. She looks like a gladiator. She has the pauldron, she has the chest plate, she has like a little helmet. Like, she doesn't look like a warrior. She looks like a gladiator. That's what her armor is kind of styled after. So she is definitely seen some stuff.
Well,
Hit first.
don't make
ask
Keitha
questions
bad. I'm just.
Yeah.
I like that she has a little helmet. Not like a big,
Yeah.
a little
Like,
helmet. Just a
Literally
little helmet.
just the front of her face. Like, it kind of exposes the back of her head.
Like a birdcage helmet. Love.
Keitha,
Hey,
who in this group of companions do you think will live the longest?
Rain. Probably.
Yeah,
Most
Who do you think
likely.
is- who
That
do you think
checks
is
out.
most likely to die the soonest?
I'm not sure if I can answer that question. I will telepathically link you, Fava.
As Fava's just staring up at you with her big eyes.
She's so naive. The poor little thing. And I'm saying all this telepathically. It's like, if we were each set in the same scenario in the wild and Fava was solo, I don't think that she'd last very long. And this is via psychic. And then she just looks over to Fava and gives her like a little pat on the shoulder.
Rain just looks at him. Fava, it's probably me as well. I'm either going to live the longest or die the quickest. No,
No, you can't die.
Yes, I won't try to.
Okay.
Uh,
I have another question.
Alright. For me or for Altair?
This is for Altair, because Altair has many questions, and I have questions for Altair. You seem very creative, and I'm musically minded, poetically minded. Why?
that is
Fava, you can't just ask somebody why they're musically inclined.
Explain art.
Explain.
Why do you do art? Like, what is the point?
Why?
Altier
I'll
is going to
rephrase.
take the question in sort of the spirit of genuine curiosity that it was presented in. Father, you love rocks and you love walks.
Yes.
You love rock walks.
Yes.
Well, I love words. And I love painting pictures with words. And I like to tell stories.
Oh, that's a very good answer. You see, Rain, you did not have to give me that look. He knew what I meant.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant. I did a great job, Fava.
My next question is actually for Roxy. We've traveled
Yeah.
together for a bit.
A little bit.
I've been dying to ask you this, and it's mainly because you are studied, and you are in some ways self-taught, but in other ways not.
Pretty self-taught, I do say myself.
But
To toot my own horn, but toot toot, you know.
But you do have. You do have certain beliefs about the direction in which this world is headed. Which historical event do you feel most people have a misconception about? What do they get wrong?
think that maybe... I think maybe the bean punch, the event that caused the gods to be mad, or at least that's how the story goes. I don't know if it was really that. I think people maybe have put some thoughts or expectations behind it because it was such a cataclysmic event, but I think that maybe it could have been an accident. Like you know how sometimes if you trip you might break something? I don't really know what we could have done as a species as a whole to make a god mad enough to punch our planet. Which makes me wonder if maybe it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did, so I mean there's no real fixing it after the fact. But that was something else that was, probably part of the shunning, I'm sure, when I was younger, was that kind of talk.
Interesting. I mean,
Is that also around when you were 10? Like when did you start having these thoughts?
Deep existential thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, for most of my life, I've been kind of on that level. I was one of those kids that started reading very, very young, and the more that I read and the more I learned about the world, everybody around me seemed to think it was very much just one way, and it was the way it was because of where we lived, and I kept trying to be like, but there's a whole big other world out there, and everybody just kind of would be like, shut up, Roxy, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm like, yeah, no, but these 20 people that wrote books about it do. So, yeah, that was sort of my struggle for the most part. Yeah, once I started asking questions related to the gods, that's when people really, really started to try and get me to be quiet.
yeah. That makes sense to me. I mean, as a fair counterpoint, I've met a few people that if I was a god, they would certainly make me punch the planet now, let alone a couple thousand years ago. So
I mean, that's fair. Listen, I have no judgment. If it was a punch, maybe we did screw up. I don't know.
Maybe it was like one person that just fucked up so monumentally that just screwed everyone else over.
That could very well be, yeah. But I don't know. I'm suspicious.
I would say, don't ever let that trait leave you. I think a healthy amount of suspicion is good. I think that the more that you study and the more that you look at the world and try to see things from other people's perspectives, the better off you are.
This is why we get along out here. We're on that same wavelength.
Well, I mean, you were looking up at the sky and I was looking down at here, and
wait, were
And
you
then
like?
you fell out of the sky.
Were you like literally in like a metaphysical sky, or did you like get shunted here? Like I'm slightly confused because I thought you like fell here like from the moon or something.
Oh,
Did I
Keeper, you were
misinterpret that?
asleep.
I wish I fell from the moon. It would have been a whole lot more gentle if I had.
Oh, even
Which
farther.
They're out of this. There are 2 moons, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't say shunted necessarily. My god tore a hole between the planes and threw me through it.
That sounds like shunted to me.
It was not pleasant.
Does not
very
sound like it.
aggressive.
Did it like Roxy, when you found him, was he like injured? Were you like
It certainly was a little bit banged up, but not nearly as injured as I expected. I mean, I literally we had made camp. It was me and some of the other folks in our I guess traveling party, and it was maybe evening-ish, not quite sunset, and all of a sudden we just saw, however many clicks probably due west, something fall out of the sky. I was convinced it was what I'd been dreaming about for as long as I can remember now, and that it was just going to be a big old comet and this was the end. And then when morning came and it wasn't the end, it was like, well, I guess let's just keep an eye out for any big rocks. And then a big rock ended up being a big guy with wings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On that note, there is, not to alarm anyone, and it's not like it's happening tomorrow, but Roxy has a reason to be wary of things from the sky, because there is a rock up there, and
It's
Altair
headed this
sort
way.
of trails off. Just he's
So,
not a
like-
scientist.
Like,
The moons, or like the thing we saw in that weird shared dream we all had.
is
That
it like
one. That
Oh
one.
yes, one. Yes,
We never
about
talked
that.
about that, did we?
We have not addressed the fact that we all saw each other and
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
we all had a dream.
Now you know. Come
I
on.
know I saw you.
Rain.
We fought
the-
alongside each other.
Rain, Keitha will, without asking you, again, blast images into your brain of what they saw. Without asking.
Rain just starts to look more and more angry. She's just sitting there, not saying anything. She's just getting more and more upset.
Fava just toddles over and like puts her hand.
Are you all right? You look very upset. Is your tummy hurting?
Altair is
okay?
worried because he was the last one talking and doesn't know anything about the conversation that's happening between Keitha and Rain, and he's like, looks at Roxy. He says, "I'm sorry.
No,
was it
I
something
mean,
I said? Did I?
I
offend
think
you?"
that she is really upset that we all had a shared dream personally. I think it's a sore subject. She
I
doesn't.
mean,
She doesn't.
anywhere else.
She gets
a
mad whenever
shared dream of
Keitha
some
even
kind
does
is-
the mind thing. I mean, imagine sharing a dream without her consent. That can't be good. That can't be good.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Keitha just like
I'm fine, Pava.
Oh, okay.
Don't-
Sits down right next to you, still
Don't let me
staring at
stab Keitha, please.
Oh, all right.
Father,
Huh?
who among your companions do you wish would teach you a skill?
Oh.
I know you don't really know a whole lot about us. You're most familiar with Rain, of course, and she is your protector, but given what you do know about us, is there any particular skills? Forget what I said about knowing us. Do you have a skill that you've always wanted to learn? And based off of that, we might be able to help you with it.
Well, I've always wanted to learn how to weave. I find all these lovely scarves, and I don't know how to do it myself. You'd think with all the free time I have in Benstow, I would have learned, but I haven't. But you all have opened my eyes to what skills there are in the world I didn't know.
She's gonna rush over to Roxy and like very distinctly goes to the non-scarred side of Roxy. She like looks at your arm and like rotates around like
I didn't know you could make the little things you make. The turtles.
The little,
and things.
my little toys and things. Yeah.
That's so
That's kind of part of what I was talking about earlier about trying to make things to make people's lives better. It's like it doesn't have to be necessarily to like fix things. It can just be for fun. Sometimes fun's okay too. And so that's why I like to make those little things because like they're useful, but they're also fun.
Yes. See, and that I want to learn how to make more things, because you don't have many materials here. I have lots of rocks, but they don't stick together very well. And so I would love
No.
to learn how to make things like scarves and your little things and to cook. That would be wonderful.
I definitely think we can help with the cooking. That's a good place to start, for sure.
I have learned how to make beans and biscuits, and that's it.
Fava, as to the first thing you mentioned, which was knitting, I believe I might be able to assist you with that. I do weave a tad here and there. I always have to make adjustments to my costumes that I have.
Costumes.
Yes,
We see one of them.
Altair reaches into a bag, and he hold on one second. Let me just make sure I have this enabled.
Like, by costumes, Keitha is fully expecting like festival garb, like something like straight out of like a parade.
Ha. So they are going to hold on one second. They are going to they're going to cast Disguise Self. And it's one of those things where Altair, who has been sitting this entire time, it looks like he's about to, he stands and he sort of uses his wings to sort of like give him a little bit of momentum standing, and he sort of just unfurls them, and then he stands, but then his wings suddenly like come up and like enclose around him, and then suddenly you see another rain standing before you.
Oh, that is not what I expected by costume. That is excellent
That is so
expert craftsmanship.
cool.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Look
Fava
at his
has a little,
boots.
walking stick that she just starts poking you with a little bit too aggressively, like,
You reign so. Oh, you reign, but she's reign. You were out here.
I mean, this
Who
makes
are
me
you?
extremely uncomfortable, but it's okay.
Again, another spin and flourish, and the wings suddenly reappear, and Altair sits back down, and you see very briefly, like it's almost barely visible, but it happens so quickly. But you see him sort of like stuff and tuck like bits of fabric back into his waistcoat. That he has his like a green armor vest, and he is back once more into the form of Altair.
That could be incredibly useful.
I was very confused. You're very convincing. I saw Rain over there, and then Rain was there. Oh, so much.
Yes. It's actually something. It's an ability that has gotten me out of all sorts of trouble every now and again.
I can imagine so.
Trouble.
I mean,
You do not strike me as the type of fellow who gets into trouble. Now I'm intrigued. What type of trouble do you get into? You seem like a stand-up fellow.
Depending on the places I visit, I am either greeted very warmly or very coldly. And people see my appearance and they hear about my mission or my calling, and they assume the worst about what I do, which is I am a collector of stories.
So
And-
less criminal trouble and more people running you out with pitchforks trouble.
Actually, it's a frightening combination of both. People assume that I am a ne'er-do-well based off of my appearance, and they're not familiar, and they assume that I'm up to all manner of
Precisely.
Yes, you
Yeah.
understand.
Precisely. Yes.
So you haven't actually gotten up to any real trouble.
I do find myself in a spot of trouble every now and then. In fact, the inciting event that brought me to this world was because I brought trouble upon the god that I serve, and to the other four. I wasn't sure until this moment, this talk of families earlier, but I would have to say that the other four are very much, I would consider them to be brothers and sisters.
I feel like I don't want to know exactly what happened because I'll get like smitten by a god or something. So feel free to keep the details in case this is like forbidden knowledge of some kind.
Here's the thing. I feel very much cut off from everyone. Not in an intentional way, like I don't feel like I'm being punished. But I also am hesitant to break certain rules that we have set for ourselves. So, I appreciate your chosen lack of enthusiasm.
Of course. Anytime.
I want that in a sticker. I appreciate your chosen lack of enthusiasm.
With Keitha just like thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like car salesman, like
Perfect.
Well, for what it's worth, Altir, I don't know why you're here or what brought you here, but I'm glad to have met you. You're very interesting.
Thank you, Father. Like the very faintest beginning of a tear appears in the corner of Altir's eye. As it is the second time this evening that he has been indirectly or directly paid a compliment, and so he sort of like takes that and it warms him.
Roxy's gonna try and catch Rain's eye and just be like, "Hmm? See what I'm saying? So I want to call him out, but
Nudge, nudge, look.
At this point, though, Altir stretches his wings and his arms and he lets out a very big yawn. Well, thank you for answering my questions. And you see once again he has this journal in his hand, this leather-bound book with he has a feather and an inkwell.
is it one of his own feathers? Like, does he like pluck a wet feather from his wing to write every time he needs to write?
You haven't seen him do it. This is just something that he had tucked in the book. But
Gotcha.
he sort of wraps it up with the leather wrapping and he puts it in his knapsack. I think it's safe to say it's be best if we turned in. Probably have a decent trek tomorrow, and
All right.
hopefully we don't have to get into too hairy a situation to
Yeah.
reacquaint you with Randall. Father.
Right,
Randall.
Randall. We've got to
That's
find him.
is a dwarf.
I
Randall.
would have loved this. We'll have to
Y'all
do it
can.
again when we get him.
Is this going to be a regular thing with you? I just need to know if I need to prepare myself for
I hope so, please. This was so fun.
Altir suddenly becomes very serious and looks at Rain and says, "Oh, you can count on it, Rain. I am definitely going to be asking oodles of questions."
oodles. Did you really just use that word?
It's a good word, isn't it? Oodles. Means a lot.
Oodles.
And on the
Does it mean more than one
Word.
thing? Am I missing a couple meanings?
And on Oodles, that is where we will bring our episode to a close as our party starts their watches, goes to bed, and continues their path on to Randall. Thank you so much for joining us for this very special episode of World Weavers here. We will be back again for our regularly scheduled story in 2 weeks. Until then, check us out at actualplaypods.com. There's links to all the socials and links to our Discord. So come join us on the Discord. It's so much fun. We're all there. We're all hanging out, chatting, theorizing. So if you got that like red string going already, join us. We want to hear all of the theories. But until then, be sure to subscribe, hit that little bell, do the like thing, all of that YouTube stuff. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.
Love you all.
Bye.